everyone, and welcome to the Chicago metro area. I'm about to hop on board a train and head downtown for some awesome Christmas shopping fun. I traveled to Chicago during the 2023 Christmas season because I wanted to take in Chicago's retail at its peak, and there's no better time to see some of the retail gems of Chicago than at Christmas time. Mainly because New York City is just too far of a drive for me and Chicago's a lot closer, I wanted to experience some of the iconic department store windows and holiday decorations, and boy are they fantastic. During the 20th century, most major cities had a local department store in their downtown, and they would lavishly decorate their windows for the holiday season to attract more shoppers. As the 20th century came to a close, many of these iconic department stores began to fade and disappear. Nowadays, if you want to see one of those iconic window displays like you're looking at here, you have to go either to Chicago or New York City. Or you can travel to this really cool place in Medina, Ohio called Castle Noel, where they've been preserving these window displays over the years. It's a really cool place, and I'll have a full video on it coming out for the holiday season. So don't forget to subscribe with notifications turned on so you don't miss it.
Well, I'm all for Christmas. All the happy smiles and the wishes, and I want it all from the lights to the mistletoe. Tell me one thing, is there anything that you're missing? I will keep you warm as soon as you remove that snow. Whatever we do, we will be alright. These holiday wonders will open your mind. May all your wishes tonight come true. The love I lived, the dream I knew. This Christmas I only wanna be close to you. Whatever we do, we will be alright. These holiday wonders will open your mind. May all your wishes tonight come true. The love I lived, the dream I knew.
Want to see more awesome videos just like this one? All you have to do is click the join button below this video and you'll gain access to extra weekly content and so much more. Thank you for joining and supporting the future of video. So here we are, the main level of this flagship department store. And yes, we are going to go floor by floor. If I remember right, I believe there were 7 levels. We'll also go over the history of this iconic department store at some point during this video, as well as take a look at the very large Toys R Us located within the Macys and the very famous Walnut Room restaurant. As you walk around the main level of this store, this is where you'll see most of the opulence. As you ascend each level, it'll get more and more plain and less fancy, and this is something that I have experienced in other flagship department stores like the flagship Macys in New York City. But that's not to say each level doesn't have its own unique gems to find if you look hard enough. So mostly what you're going to find on the main level is all of the shoes, handbags and accessories, jewelry, as well as the perfume and makeup department. You know, the things you typically find on your local department store's main level. Now, of course, being a flagship store, of course they have things other than that you wouldn't find on your typical department store's main floor just because this store is so huge. While on the main level, don't forget to look up at this stunning ceiling that was installed in 1907. This glass mosaic ceiling was designed by Louis Comfort Tiffany of the Tiffany & Company. The ceiling features intricate patterns and vibrant colors, creating a captivating display of artistry. It spans the store's entire ceiling in the main shopping area, known as the Tiffany Dome. The centerpiece is a large iridescent glass dome that serves as a focal point for visitors. This ceiling is considered one of the largest glass mosaic installations of its kind and has become an iconic and beloved part of the Marshal Fields building, even after its transition into Macys in 2006. The famous Tiffany ceiling remains intact and continues to be a symbol of the store's rich history and architectural beauty. It stands as a testament to the commitment to craftsmanship and elegance that characterized Marshal Fields during its heyday. This is the 1904 Burnham Fountain. The original plans for the State Street building, designed by world-renowned architect Daniel Burnham, called for a fountain. He wanted an iconic place within the store that shoppers and guests could meet, much like the famous clock outside. Unfortunately, somewhere along the way, the plans for the fountain were lost. Then, in 1987, the architectural firm of Hambertech Terrell began conducting over 2,500 hours of research for the store and uncovered the original drawings of the fountain and had it built to the likeness and scale of the original plans. And the fountain has been gracing customers ever since. Throughout the store, be on the lookout for many of these ornate drinking fountains that once were in service throughout the store. Most of these drinking fountains were installed in 1907 and are original to the store. It's now time to head down to the lower level where you'll find the Macy's backstage, as well as home department and the famous candy counter. Also located on the lower level is Barbara's Bookstore, established in 1963. Now, I've been in hundreds of department stores throughout the country, and I think this is the only department store that I can remember that has a full-on bookstore. Now, of course, it's not as big as like a Barnes & Noble's. It's more like those small mall bookstores that you might find. But I did find it had a nice selection to choose from, and it was just super cool seeing a bookstore inside the Macy's department store. So this is right outside that bookstore and the Macy's department store. You can see all of these ornate stained glass windows. Well, I don't really think they're windows per se because we are underground, but they are back illuminated and they're gorgeous. Now, don't quote me 100% on this, but I believe this is a passageway that'll take you into the subway station, the metro station, as well as other places like take you all the way over to Millennium Park, because I did see a sign that said Millennium Park with an arrow. But I don't know, because Millennium Park is several blocks away. Now we're going to head on into the Macy's backstage. This is where they have all of the super discounted stuff and all the really good deals. And we'll be able to compare this backstage to a normal local Macy's backstage that you would find at your local mall. Alright, do you guys find it odd that you enter the Macy's backstage area and there's always like a toy section, but now they have the Toys R Us section, and you're just like, this just feels kind of weird, like, why are there toys over here and they're not all with the Toys R Us stuff? I don't know, it's just kind of odd feeling. Do you guys feel that way? Leave a comment down below and let me know. Now, while this Macy's backstage is larger than your average Macy's backstage at your local mall, I didn't really find that it was anything special. It didn't really have anything extra to offer over the traditional mall version. Oh man, would I love to have that sign in my museum. That is just gorgeous. Okay, so we're about to head on into what I'm going to say is the candy counter or candy section, but it's more like a section because it's quite large, and I love the way that it's set up. I believe Frango candy, if I'm pronouncing that right, the green and red boxes you just saw, that's a Macy's specific thing. I don't know if it's a Macy's brand. I think it is. Anyways, I've never seen that stuff outside of a Macy's, but this is a very nice candy department. It's very well laid out, and it's just gorgeous looking at all of the gentle curves throughout that guide you past all of the delicious and delectable sweets. And as you exit the candy department, I just had to take a moment to look at the floor here because this tile work is just gorgeous and you don't see it anymore. All right, heading into the home section, which would include all of the bed and bath as well as the kitchen related stuff. Now, while this section is really large and offers a good selection of merchandise to choose from, I just kind of feel like it's really cold, like we're in a basement. And I mean, I know we are in a basement, but it could just use some warmth. I really found this sign amusing, telling us how to pick out the perfect towel. So does your local department store have a subway connected to it? Because I doubt that it does. It was just awesome to be able to hop on the train and ride it all the way directly to the Macys store right here on State Street. So I didn't actually go inside the subway station because, it's just a subway station. It looks like all the rest. There was nothing special about it, but I just kind of wanted to highlight it here. Now, this room was weird, and when I first saw it, I was like, oh, it reminds me of the rooms they have at the Boscovs that has all of their bargains, but yet they have it set up for like all the massaging stuff and all the therapeutic items. I was just like, this is kind of weird. Alright, I think it's time to get ourselves out of the basement and head up to the second floor. Yes, the second floor, because we did the lower level and the main floor, and now we got to go up to the second level. Now, if you haven't noticed, pay close attention to the escalators every time we hop on them, because man, this Macys really wants you to visit the Toys R Us located on level 5, because it's just plastered all over the place. Toys R Us on level 5. Oh my gosh, now we're on level 3. Oh, the Toys R Us is on level 5. It was just kind of like ironic. And of course, we will get to level 5 and we will see this amazing Toys R Us. Well, at least Macys thinks it's amazing. I guess I kind of did too. All right, this is it. Level 2, the men's department. This is my section. Or at least it would be if they were selling over-the-top outfits like you'd find on the Asian websites like AliExpress. I didn't spend a whole lot of time up here. I was mainly just sort of filming. And maybe if I had have, taken the time to actually shop the men's department, I might have found something. But then I probably would have looked at the price and said, absolutely not. I'm sure if I had taken the time to look around, I could have found some reasonably priced things that I would have enjoyed, or wanted to pick up, especially if it was something more basic. Because I do tend to have those basic staples in my closet, the black t-shirt or, black sweatshirt, etc. I found it really crazy that this level has a whole entire section dedicated to outdoor wear. This is also where you'll find all the active wear as well. once again time to ride the Toys R Us escalator up to level 3, where we can take a look at the women's department. And yes, I'm labeling these the Toys R Us escalators just because they are over the top with the Toys R Us theming and logos. So what were my thoughts on this women's department here at the flagship Macy's store in Chicago? Well, being I'm not a woman, you're probably not going to get a good representation of this department, but I can say it was very spacious and well laid out, and everything was displayed nicely. They had a good selection of different brands, and some of the styles they were offering were really nice. I could definitely see myself shopping up here in this department if I was a woman. Like this leather jacket on the mannequin we just passed, I'd probably pick one of those up because that was pretty nice. Now make sure if you're visiting this store on every level, come over to the center where you can look down and look up because you get kind of a different perspective from each level. Welcome to the 28 shop, which opened in 1941. This was one of the very first in-store boutique shops in the United States, and was the brainchild of Houston M. McBain, who would go on to become the manager of the entire company in 1943. This shop was designed by Joseph Platt, who would arrange all the 28 dressing rooms around the central salon. There were 14 different dressing room designs, all in various colors and decor to suit the customer's taste. Even today, the shop still offers high-end luxury fashion. Just take a look at the price tags. The shop got its name for its private elevator entrance that was located at 28 East Washington Street and featured 28 dressing rooms. It was here that Marshal Fields would sell all of its high-end couture fashion from places like Paris. It's finally time to head up to level 5 where we can check out this awesome Toys R Us.
I don't want to grow up, I'm a Toys R Us kid. They got a million toys at Toys R Us that I can play with. I don't want to grow up, I'm a Toys R Us kid. They got the best for so much less, you really flip your lid. From bikes to trains to video games, it's the biggest toy store there is.
Gee whiz!
I don't want to grow up, cause baby if I did, I couldn't be a Toys R Us kid. More games, more toys, oh boy, I want to be a Toys R Us kid.
So upon landing on the 5th level at this Toys R Us, my first impressions were really great. I loved the large Toys R Us sign and all the bright colors. This Toys R Us was definitely better than the one at my local Macy's and many of the Macy's I'd been to throughout the country. And I guess that makes sense because this is a flagship store located in downtown Chicago. But of course, it's still a Toys R Us stuck inside of another store, and it still can't capture us like the original Toys R Us standalone stores once did. been to a lot of Macy's with Toys R Us inside of them, and I've never seen one that has its own little bookstore. That was pretty cool to see and very unique. I like this concept. Let's now head on out of the Toys R Us to check out the children's department. This is also where you'll find the Santa Land, which required reservations in order to see it, and that's why you won't see much of it in this video, just basically the outside entrance. I was really unsure what Santa Land was. Obviously, it's where you would visit Santa, but I got the impression that it was like some kind of interactive experience. Alright, so that was a look at the kids department, and I didn't find it anything special, compared to any other Macy's out there, but we're going to take one last walk through the Toys R Us, take a look at that amazing ceiling, and another thing that I thought was pretty awesome, this Toys R Us actually has its own separate checkout section, like with a line and everything, and it was so great to see it full of customers shopping for the holiday season. But yes, that ceiling, just look at that. I've never been in another Macy's that has that. That's pretty special. And I love how it combines the Toys R Us colors with the Macy's star, kind of like the two companies joining forces. Just really awesome to see. This is your tour guide once again. It's time to ride the escalators up to the 6th level, where you'll find all of the rugs. Rugs, rugs, and more rugs. And do most Macy's even carry rugs? Because I can't recall that my local Macy's or any of the ones I've been to actually do. If yours does, let me know down in the comment section below and where it's located. We're now entering 7 on State. This is a food court, and it's really sad to see it in the state that it's in. A lot of the food vendors were vacant and closed. But it was nice to see that they had a few of them open and some really spectacular views from up here. Of course, the main attraction on this level is the Walnut Room restaurant, and that might be what's taking business away from the food court. They're just kind of competing against each other, even though they are two different experiences. We're now going to head on into an area of the 7th floor, which I'm going to call the museum area, because it really felt like we were in a museum for the Marshal Fields store. They had some incredible artifacts dating all the way back to when the store was first originally built. And so I think this is a great opportunity to tell you the entire history of the Marshal Fields company and its store. Marshal Fields, one of Chicago's most iconic department stores, has a rich history dating all the way back to the 1800s. In 1852, Potter Palmer would open a store under the name P. Palmer & Company Dry Goods. Later in 1865, Marshall Field and Levi Leader would join Palmer and the store would become Field, Palmer, Leader and Company. Unfortunately, in 1871, the Great Fire of Chicago would destroy the original store, prompting Field and Leader to build a newer, grander store located over on State Street that would open in 1873 and become renowned for its emphasis on quality and customer service. This is also when the slogan, "Give the lady what she wants," began. In 1881, Marshall Field would become the sole owner of the store, and its name would officially be changed to the Marshall Field and Company. Over the years, the flagship store on State Street would expand and become the largest department store in the world by the early 1900s, directly competing with the famous Macys of New York City. Under the leadership of Marshall Field and later his nephew, Marshall Field Jr., the store would pioneer several retail practices, including the creation of the bridal registry, in-store restaurants, and the concept of window displays. The store's clock on State Street would also become a popular meeting spot for Chicagoans. All throughout the 20th century, the store continued to thrive and innovate. That is, until the beginning of the 21st century, when the store would face financial challenges. In 2005, Marshall Fields would be acquired by the Federal Department Stores, which would later be rebranded as Macys, leading to the end of the Marshall Fields name in 2006. But out of the ashes, a new store would arise under the Macys name, and despite this name change, the historic building and its legacy continue to be a significant part of Chicago's retail history. It may no longer be under the Marshall Fields name, but the building on State Street still stands as a symbol of Chicago's commercial heritage, housing the Macys store while preserving some of the elements of the original Marshall Fields, such as the famous Walnut Room restaurant. When visiting this store, make sure to stop by the large wall that tells all about the history of this store, because it goes into a little bit more detail than I did here in this video. They did a fantastic job preserving the history of this store, and I have to give Macys big props to keeping this alive. And during the holiday season, this is where you're going to find some amazing decorations. What you're about to see is an antique boardroom panel that was originally crafted and completed for the Great House Whitehall, Shrewsbury in 1603. 5 rooms of paneling were purchased by Marshall Field and Company in 1929 and used in the store's interior decorating galleries. In 1981, many of the panels that remained were purchased for use in private homes, and this is the only one remaining. Here we get to take a look at a portrait of Marshall Field himself, the founder of the company. This is a memorial for everyone within the company that served during World War II, and I definitely didn't expect to find this in the store. This is also where you'll find a large plaque for the Marshall Field and Company Half-Century Club. It was established in order to honor those who had been with the company for 50 years or more. Then I started wandering down some of these weird hallways, and it felt like I shouldn't have been back here, but obviously it was open to the public and I didn't get yelled at, but it had some really cool, archival stuff from way back in the day, like these toys here, and also some stuff from the millinery department of Marshall Fields. That was really cool to see. And of course, there were more of these old fountains that were original to the building back here, as well as some other miscellaneous things. When I was just sort of back here, I was like, what is all this stuff just sort of scattered throughout the hallways back here? It was just so odd. After leaving those weird hallways, you'll come upon the history of the Great Tree, which is the 45-foot tall tree adorned with lights and color and is the centerpiece of the historic Walnut Room during Christmas time. I didn't find any information on this man and the clock, but it is really cool to see. And especially the clock, I love how it lights up. Alright, and now continuing our trip through all the holiday decorations, I stumbled upon this small little room that had some glass cases in them with all these teddy bears and dates around them. I'm assuming that these are Marshal Fields bears that were released throughout the years, but I'm not 100% sure. There was not any information on them. Then I saw this sign that said Narcissus Room, and I was like, wait, what? And I know it's spelled different from narcissist, which is a type of person. But I just found it strange that you would call a room anything similar to that. Heading down this hallway, you're going to see another one of those fountains, although you can tell it's not all completely original. Now this again was another area where I was like, am I really supposed to be back here? Because it was just so empty and dead, but this door was wide open, so I figured, let's head on in to the Narcissus Room and see what it's all about. This room was one of the many former restaurants located on the 7th floor. And while this technically wasn't a restaurant, it was actually a tea room. It would begin to fall out of fashion over the years, with other restaurants such as the Walnut Room being favored. Nowadays, it's used mainly as an event space, and I would have loved to see that fountain working. Just outside the Narcissus Room, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correct, you'll get to see all of these figures. These were formerly in the window displays that would be outside the store during the holiday season. I was absolutely shocked to see these here, because if you know anything, pretty much all the department stores directly after the holiday season are told that they are to destroy all of their window displays, and that's mainly just because the artists that make all of the window displays don't want their creations getting out into the public and, getting into the wrong hands or whatever. And I guess that kind of makes sense being that I'm an artist myself. But on the other hand, it's like, man, I put so much work into this creation and it's just going to get destroyed. And these window displays cost the department store millions. Our last stop on today's tour is going to be the Walnut Room. The Walnut Room would open in 1907 and be known for its elegant interior, featuring wood paneling from Russia, Austrian chandeliers, and a large prominent walnut tree in the center of the room. This tree would become the focal point of the annual Christmas tree tradition. The Walnut Room would also have a Christmas tree lighting ceremony that had been a holiday tradition since 1907, attracting visitors who would come to see the beautifully decorated tree and enjoy a festive dining experience. Over the years, the Walnut Room has maintained its reputation as a classic and iconic Chicago dining establishment, known not only for its historical significance, but also for its role in holiday celebrations. The tradition of dining at the Walnut Room during the Christmas season continues to be cherished by locals and visitors alike. So next time you're in Chicago, ride one of the many trains to downtown and experience what was at one time the world's largest department store, Marshal Fields, now Macys. Thanks for coming along with me as we took a trip to downtown Chicago to take a look at this iconic department store, Marshal Fields, now Macys. I will be making other videos on Chicago's iconic downtown shopping destinations, so make sure to click that subscribe button and turn notifications on so that you don't miss a thing, and I will see you in the next episode.